Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to this week's card. This week I used a new stamp that I just got from Penny Black called, I think it's Posies. I'll have it on my blog. And I just used some Stampin' Up! Markers and colored the back of the stamp. I love how you can use Stampin' Up! Colors or markers to do this. I don't actually own all of the Stampin' Up! Ink pads because I have all the markers. And so whenever I want to use an ink pad that I don't have, I just use the markers and I color the back of the stamp. So what I did here was I used the lighter color and I colored the whole thing, and then I used a darker color. So I think I had Melon Mambo on that one, and then I put some real red at the base of the flower. And on the other flowers I'm using Daffodil Delight, and then I'm coloring just a little bit on the inside using Pumpkin Pie. And normally you could, on a smaller stamp, you could just sort of huff on it, breathe heavy, and it reactivates all of the ink that you put on there, so you don't have to worry about the ink drying. And so when it reactivates the ink, you stamp it on the paper and it actually comes out really beautiful. But for this one, I'm actually going to spray it with water. It's such a big stamp. And I wanted to provide a little bit of water so that the two colors on the flower would blend together. So I'm just going to do two quick small sprays. And then I'm going to stamp it on Stampin' Up! Paper. Okay, next I'm going to take the Friend Definition stamp from Hero Arts, and I'm going to use some clear embossing on it. And what this is going to do is it's going to leave the flowers without any ink without any white parts on them, because if I used white embossing powder, then you'd get white words on the flowers, and I didn't want that. So here I am with my clear powder. Just going to stick that on there, and I'm going to heat it up to set it. And notice I heated the other side of the paper, and that helps with the warping. So the first thing I did here was I took some So Saffron, which is a little bit of a lighter yellow, and I colored on the flowers themselves. And then I took some Daffodil Delight, which is a little bit of a brighter yellow, and I inked up around that. And I left a little bit of white on the outside and used Not Quite Navy, which is one of my favorite colors. It's kind of a off blue, and so the areas I left white are going to be blue, and then the areas that had the Daffodil Delight on it are going to turn a pretty greenish color. And I'm just creating a little bit of a darker edge with the blue. This is an embossing buddy, and it removes the static from your paper so you don't get stray embossing powder on it. And this is a piece of vellum, and I'm going to use some black embossing powder now on this. When you heat it up, you have to be careful because you don't want to warp this paper too much. Now I'm just going to trim it down, and I'm going to adhere this panel to a piece of black Stampin' Up! Cardstock. And then I'm going to place my sentiment at the top. So I decided to measure in. It was about 3/8 of an inch, I think. I put one glue dot, and then on the other side I put another glue dot. And the reason why I wanted this to be exact is because I'm going to put some gems on top to hide the glue dots. Just going to trim off the excess and get my, I have to adhere this to my card base, which is just a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 folded card. And here are these black gems that I'm covering my glue dots with. And I thought this was the end, but then I decided the sentiment was a little too high, so I peeled it off and just lowered it a little bit. And there we go. So that's it. It was pretty simple this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.